नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter number 13, Verse number 4. So we read that King Nimi, he approached his Guru Vasishtha to perform a satra, a long yajna. But Vasishtha said that he was already hired by Indra and Nimi should wait for him. But then Nimi in the meantime thought that life is very temporary and I should not wait. So he approached some other Brahmanas and under their guidance he began the yajna. And then his Guru came back. So that is being described now here. Shishya vyati kramam viksha nirvartya gururagataha ashapat patatadeho nimehe panditamaninaha. So when he saw that Nimi has not followed his instruction, which was to wait for him, and this way he thought that he has disregarded him. So he felt angry and he cursed him. He said, "You are Pandit Manina. You consider yourself as a big scholar, very learned man, and could not wait for me. So now I curse you for what you were fearing." What was Nimi's fear? Nimi's fear was that what if he dies in the meantime? So he says, okay, you die. So he said, Ashapat patatat deho nime pandit manini. Let the body of Nimi, who thinks himself as a pandit, as a learned scholar, fall down. So he did not fall down immediately. It took some time. So in the meantime, Nimi also cursed him back. So Nimi prati dadau shapam gurve adharma vartine tavapi patatat deho lobhat dharmam ajanata. So Nimi also gave a counter curse to his Guru who was following the path of adharma, and he said that let your body also fall down. Tavapi patatat deho. Why? Because out of greed you have lost the vision of dharma. So what is dharma and what is adharma? Krishna says even learned people get bewildered. Kim karma karmeti kavyapyatra mohita. So even kavis get confused. So Vasishtha is calling Nimi as not such a great scholar, and he thinks that he is doing right. And Nimi is calling him as one who thinks he is very dharmic but greedy. So he is calling Nimi as arrogant, ahankara, and Nimi is calling him as lobhi, greedy. So these are the problems of human mind: pride, greed, anger. So both are getting angry. If you are proud, you can get angry. If you're greedy, then you can get angry. If somebody is coming in your way and creating obstacle to your greed, then you can get angry. If somebody is putting an obstacle to your karma, you get angry. So anger is a common feature. So this is what happens. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says, Nirvartya shakrasya makham nispadya agatah shishyasya nimer vyatikramam swasya anapeksham. So Nirvartya means when he came back after completing the makha of Indra Makha. And he saw Vyatikram. Vyatikram means not following the order. Krama means order. And Vyatikram means doing something different, which was that disregard for himself. So therefore he was not happy about that. So this is natural. This incident shows that when we are not devoted to Krishna, then we only look for our own welfare. And anybody who comes in as an obstacle, then we are upset with that. So Vasishtha also could not think that, well, anyway, he is doing yajna, he has other brahmanas, and now you can join. After all, he is a king. He will still give him dakshina. It's not that he is going to deny that. But just that he took it as a personal insult. It was not so much greed. Greed may have been that he went to Indra. Indra is king of heaven. So he thought he will get better dakshina there. And anyway, this guy is my disciple, he is not going anywhere. So when you have one opportunity which is certain and other uncertain, then you take the uncertain one first, because the certain is not going anywhere. So this was intelligent from that point of view. He says, Nimi will just follow me, what I tell him. But Indra can ask someone else. He is not disciple of Vasishtha. He can call some other sage. So he didn't want to lose that opportunity and in this way face the loss of his dakshina. So adharm vartine lobhat indrato matto api dakshina kanksha rupat. So why he is calling him as lobha, or one who has greed? He says that he wanted dakshina from both, from Indra as well as from Nimi. But what is he going to do with so much dakshina? So Brahmana is supposed to be more content than that. If he was self-contained and content, then this would not have happened. So now they have cursed each other, and this is a heavy curse. So if you dig ditch for someone else, then you fall into that. So he cursed him to die, then he also got it back. So he was not expecting this, obviously. He thought that Nimi would not do this. So this is the difference. When Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, he could have also cursed him back. He was also capable of doing it, because these were powerful kings. But he took it as grace of Krishna. And he did not react. But here we see that Nimi, he did not, because he must have felt insulted in front of everybody. if you insult somebody privately, then that is one story. If you insult somebody publicly, then that is a bigger insult. So he also got upset. He says, I will also show you who I am. Anyway, I'm dying. But before that, I'll fix you. After I die, you are no more my guru. So this is an interesting incident. But now, how was it managed by the Brahmanas? That we have to see. Soiti utsasarja swam deham nimiradhyatmako vidah mitra varunayor jajje urvashyo prapitamaha. गंधवस्तुषु तद्देहं निधाय मुनि सप्तम समाप्ते सत्रयागवत् देवानुचु समागतान्. So he says that iti utsasarja swam deham nimir adhyatma kovida. So Nimi here is described as adhyatma kovida, means he actually knew the spiritual science. He was not ordinary king. So in this way he gave up his body, and Vasishtha also gave up his body. So Vasishtha is called here as Prapitamaha because he is the great grandfather of Shukdev. Shukdev is saying that my great grandfather, then he took birth from Urvashi. Actually he did not take birth from Urvashi, but he was born from a pot. After his body dropped, then in his subtle body he went to Brahma, because he is son of Brahma. So we went to his papa. So Brahma looked at him, he says, what happened? You look naked. I don't see your dress. Why are you looking so light? So then he explained what has happened. So he says, well, you need to get a body, how would you function otherwise? So he says, how can I get it? So Brahma told him that there is this Mitra Varuna, there are two devas, and they became attracted to Urvashi, and they lost their semen, which is kept in a pot, so you enter in that and you will take birth from that. So two people were born from that. One was Agastya. So Agastya sometimes is called Kumbhaja, or one who is born from pot. And then Vasishtha also took birth. So he is still called Vasishtha only. It was just like a temporary phase, maybe like a dream. He came back with everything same, memory, everything. Maybe he looked same also. Right? Yam yam vapis smaran bhavam taste ante kalevram. So he got again Vasishtha. So he is still called the same. So that's how Vasishtha came back in his position. But what happened to Nimi? So about this it is said, Prapitamaho Vasishtha deham tyaktva mitra varunyor jagye iti. So he said that the grandfather, who is Vasishtha, after giving up his body, he took birth from Mitra Varuna. So Urvashi Darshanat Tadiyarete Kumbhe Nihitat. Because the semen was stored in a pot which has fallen by seeing Urvashi. Tathacha Shruti Kumbhe Reta Sistu Samanam. There is also a Shruti statement to this effect. So now for Nimi, they have to do something. So the yajna was going on, and it will be wrong to stop it. So they continued, but they preserved the body of Nimi. They applied some herbs to the body, preservatives, and they kept it in oil, just like you make pickle. So for making pickle, you have to put things in the oil, right? So that they are preserved. So his body was kept like that, putting some masala on it, and then putting the whole thing in the oil. So then it did not rot. So this is the old way to preserve, because there was no ice. They have to take him to Himalayas. When they used to make ice, when they started making ice first, India used to import ice from America. It used to come in ships. The kings used to get ice from America in India in ships. So then samapte kshatriyagayat devanuchu samagatan. So when the satra was over, the yajna was over, then all the devas for whom the final ahuti was given, they all appeared there. So now these brahmanas who were performing the yajna, they spoke to them as follows. Ragyo jivatu dehoyam prasanna prabhavo yadi tathatyukte nimi praha ma bhun me deha bandhanam. So they said that if you are pleased with us, then please let this king come back to life. So these brahmanas were very devoted, and they probably felt also obliged that it is because of us that he has to lose his body, because Vasishtha got angry on him because he chose us as the Ritviks. So he said, if you are devas, if you are happy, then let he come back to life. So when they said it, then Nimi spoke. So that means he was not really dead. His subtle body was still there. Obviously, physical body was preserved, but subtle body was still there. He has to complete his yajna. So he did not go away. So from his subtle body he spoke. And he says, no. I don't want to come back to life. He says, please, ma bhun me deha bandhanam. I don't want another body. This is problematic. I had enough. And usually you are happy. Anyway, he must have seen his body in oil. He said, no, leave it. This pickly body, I don't want it. So even he did not want it. He refused. So, yadi prasanna prabha samarthasya tarhi jivatu iti ucho. So he says, if you are happy and if you are able to do this, then bring him back to life. So Nimi said, no, sorry, this is not what I want. So did he want something or he did not want anything? So he did want something. So this is what he said. Yasya yogam na vanchanti viyog bhaya kataraha bhajanti charnam bhojam muniyo hari medsaha. So he says that those who understand the body and how it works, they know that body is temporary. And Viyoga Bhaya Katara, there is always fear of dying. Right? Look at now, coronavirus. So he says there is so much fear of death. And therefore, intelligent people don't want it. Yasya yogam na icchanti. They don't want to have another body. It's enough. Why they don't want? He says, Munayo bhajanti charnam bhojam hari medasa. The sages who are fixed, whose intelligence is fixed on Hari, they meditate and serve Krishna's feet. So they are not interested in taking birth with material body. So this is what he said. So deham na avrurutseham dukkha shoka bhayavaham sarvatra yato mrityur matsya nam udike yatha. He says, I do not want to have body again, this material body. Why? Dukkha shoka bhayavaham. Says it is the source of suffering. Everybody knows this, right? All the time. It's too hot, too cold, every few hours, hungry. I mean, even if you are healthy, at least these problems everybody has to face. Then sleepy, then tired, then headache, backache, pain all the time. Some pain is there. So this is dukkha and shoka, and then there is grief. Because we lose this, we lose that, then we are grieving for that. And bhaya. Bhaya is fear of losing in future. So dukkha is for present, shoka is for the past, right? And bhaya, fear for the future. So all three. If we remember the past, we grieve. If we are in present, we are suffering. If you think of future, then fear. So he says this is what body does. If body is not there, you have no suffering. You know this. Even when you are in this body and you go in deep sleep, there is no suffering. There is no fear. There is no grieving. But if you don't have it at all, so now you go to sleep, you have to come back. Even if you don't like it, but then you have to again go through the experience. So he says, Sarvatrasya yato mritu. He says, no matter which type of body you have, there is always a death. So mrityu dehavatam vira janmana sahajayate. Adya va abda satante va mitru dehinam vaidhruvam. When we take birth, our death is also born with us. And it is always with us. So today or tomorrow, even after 100 years, death is certain. So he says, therefore, mrityu sarvatrasya. He says even fish has to die. Matsya nam udke yatha. How many think that fish is safe in water? Right? No accident. Nothing. Can go inside. But it's not safe. Somebody throws a net and you're caught. And even if you're not throwing a net, then big fish eats the small fish. So even fish is not safe. What to speak of human beings? So he says, bhajanti iti. So now he takes some implied meaning, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in verse number 9, he says, Bhajanti Sharanam Bhojam Muniyo Hari Medasa, that those whose minds are fixed on Hari, they worship the feet of Lord Hari. So how do they worship if they do not have a body? Because he says, no, I don't want a body. If they worship Hari, then you need a body to worship. But on one side, he is expressing his desire to worship Krishna. Other side, he says, I don't want a body. So does he want Brahma Sayujya? Does he want impersonal liberation? No. Because impersonal liberation you cannot serve. So he does not want a material body. He does not want Brahma Sayujya. Then what does he want? He wants spiritual body. That is the Dhvani. That's what he means. So therefore he says, Bhajanti iti deha bhave sharanam bhoja bhajana asambhavat. He says, without body it is not possible to do service to the feet of Krishna. Mama bhagavat pars deho astu iti prarthana rupo gudo dhvani. So what he is implying is that please, if you have the ability, give me the blessing that I get a spiritual body, I become an associate of Bhagavan. So that's why he was called as Adhyatma Kovida. In the previous, where was that? In one of the slokas earlier, he was called as Adhyatma Kovida, means who, in verse number 6, that he was expert in spiritual science. Adhyatma Vidya. So you heard of COVID? Have you heard this COVID-19? This is what he is. You see it here? COVID is not something new. It's there in Bhagavatam. Adhyatma COVID. So COVID in Sanskrit means expert, scholar. And you think that you are going to get rid of COVID-19 just like that.
Expert virus.
It's an expert virus. That's why no cure for it. So he is Adhyatma Kovida. He is a spiritual expert. So he understands this. And that's why he became upset with Vasishtha. He says, you are getting upset because you simply want some dakshina. That I can give you, but why are you making me give up my body? Because this body is the source for me to attain devotion to Krishna. And you have finished that itself. So, dharmartha kam mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. Tad bhavehi bhavanam. So whether you want success in dharma, artha, kama or moksha, it depends on your body. If body is there, then you can have any one of them. Tad bhavehi bhavanam. If body is not there, what would you do? So that's why Nimi got upset. He says, you are making me give up this body, which although is temporary but has the ability to achieve something permanent. Yad martena satyam anritene. So it is martya and anrita, but with this you can get satya, the truth. Satyam apnuyat mamritam. So you can attain the absolute truth with this temporary material body. So he knew this. So that's why he was upset. He says, for some dakshina which is temporary, it is artha, Artha is all external to you and it is good only for the body. So that is the significance of his statement. Although directly there is no mention here of any Parsaddeha or Siddhadeha, but it is obviously understood because on one side he is saying he wants to do service, on the other side he says I don't want material body, that means I want spiritual body. So that's smartness. Na vrurutse na dhartum ichchami. So he says that I do not wish to have this material body, let it rot or burn it or bury it or do whatever you want to do. I don't have any interest in it. Udake uduke api jalcharad anyasmad anyatra sthale swabhavacha mrityu. So he says if the fish is in water, then she has danger from other aquatics. If she comes out of the water, she will die naturally. Fish out of water, how long it will survive? Not very long. So therefore, no matter whether she is in water or she is outside, she will die. So like that, the body has to die, I don't want it. So deva uchur iti deho jivatu iti muninam prarthitam na jivatu iti ragya. So he says now devas, they said that we are in trouble. The sages are saying make him alive. You are saying no, don't do that. So what are we supposed to do? And it seems you have another wish. So that is the Tritya, Prarthitasya, Datum Asakyatvat. Says the sages are saying, bring him back to life. Nim is saying, please don't bring me back to life. I want spiritual body. So they said that this third one we cannot do. We are not that great. First one we can do, if you like. So Vyameva Ditsanta Uchuriti. So what did they say? He says we will do the first two, which seem contradictory. The first two are contradictory, but they will satisfy both of them. They said, look, there are three things here. Brahmanas say, bring him to life. Nimi says, don't bring me to life, give me Parshad He says, Parshad we cannot give. Spiritual body we cannot give. But the first two we will do. We will bring you to life, and at the same time we will not bring you to life. So both will. So this is how they are going to solve this problem. So this Santa Uchu. Remember Arjuna was asked, Bhima was saying, and Krishna was saying, kill Ashwatthama. And Draupadi and Yudhishthira, they are saying, don't do that. So now Krishna said you have to satisfy both. So this seems like impossible. You have to kill him and also not kill him. Here it's opposite. You have to bring him back to life and also not bring him back to life. So let's see what the Devas do. How they will solve it. Videha ushyatam kamam lochaneshu sharirinam unmeshane nimeshabhyam lakshito dhyatma sanstitaha. So they gave a solution to that. They said that Videha Uchyatam Ushyatam kamam lochnesu shariranam. He says that you live in the eyes of people, but without body. So you will be videha. So you don't have a body. So as you said, no, don't give me the body, you don't have body. They said, bring him to life, so you are alive. So you live in everybody's eyes. So that's why this opening of eyes is called Nimesha. You heard this? Nimesha, Unmesha, Nirnimesha. So this comes from the word King Nimi. So Unmeshana Nimeshabhyam Lakshito Adhyatma Sansthita. So when people are blinking their eyes, opening and closing, so that is what you will be doing. And there you can stay in your subtle body and meditate on Krishna. So Adhyatma Sansthita. You can remain Adhyatma here is the subtle body. So you can remain in the subtle body. And if people are opening and closing their eyes, that means Nimi is there. If they are not doing, then Nimi is gone. So that's why Devas, they don't blink. Devas, they don't blink. So Nimi is not with them. It's only here. The fish and the Devas, they don't blink. So this is an interesting story. So Arajak Bhayam Nirnam, now Devas they left, then Brahmanas, what did they do? Arajak Bhayam Nirnam Manyamana Maharshaya Deham Mamanthu Sma Nimehe Kumara Samjayate. So then they thought that now this kingdom needs a king, right? The government, if there is a democratic country, government gets dissolved, then they need to have a leader. Cannot stay without that leader, so no more king. What will happen? So they were afraid that there is going to be anarchy. Arajak Bhayam Nirnam Manyamana Maharshaya, the sages, Deham Mamanthu Sma Nimehe Kumara Samjayate. So they churned the body of Nimi, and from that a boy was born. So some sort of cloning they did. Right? So then one prince came out from that, and that became the king. So this prince who came out, he had 3 names. Janmana Jankaha Swabhut, Vaidehastu Videhaja, Mithlo Mathnat Jato, Mithla Yena Nirmita. So he got the name Janaka because he was born from this body, and he is called Vaideha because he is really not born from a body.
Is Sita's father?
Then later on everybody, this is a title, everybody in that dynasty is called Janaka now. So Janaka is not just one Janaka, just like we have Shankaracharya. So there is the original Shankaracharya, and now whoever is on that seat is also called Shankaracharya. So therefore Janaka is not the specific name, it became like a generic name. That all these kings were known as Janaka later on. Sita's father will come in this dynasty later on. So he's also called Janaka, he's also called Videha or Videha Raja. And he was also called Mithila because he came out by churning, manthan. So mantadhatu, mathi, mathnati. So therefore, and he is the one who established the city of Mithila, where Sita was born. So this is how the names came. So all the kings later on in that dynasty were all very great and learned and Adhyatma Kovida. Yes.
I have two questions. One is about the subtle body. So what I understand is that when one leaves the body, then the subtle body itself is just like a apparatus, but it doesn't have any cognitive abilities, so it cannot think, cannot speak, cannot do anything. So neither Vasishta nor Nimi would be able to function actually without any other body. So are these exceptions because they are such great people that they can do something which usually is not the case? Or did they have any other body, like usually we would say a ghost body can do something? So did they get any other kind of body in order to do what they did? Like go to Brahma or speak from that?
Yeah, they must have. See, generally we only talk of gross body and subtle body, but there are many bodies. So gross is when somebody dies, the gross body remains, but then there are many layers of bodies. So they must have something. Because the mind is there, so they can think, the senses are also there, but they cannot function without this. So they must have something through which he communicated. Naturally, he did not have a tongue to speak. Otherwise, there was no need for the Brahmanas to say that bring him back to life. He thought, oh, he is still alive. So either he just communicated to the Devas and nobody heard, because he must be speaking at a certain level through the mind. Mind is there because mind is part of the subtle body. So he communicated to them.
And the other question is,
Yes.
I had a question about this pot birth.
1 minute, let her finish.
the other question is that his desire was actually to have a spiritual body and to serve Krishna with that. But now what he got seems like eternally he's here. He can, in his subtle body, he can meditate on Krishna, but isn't that a curse? Because we can, after one lifetime, if you're so advanced as he seems to have been, after one lifetime one can get a spiritual body, but with this condition, he's living practically eternally as long as the material world exists, there's this nimesha. He'll never get a spiritual body then.
So desiring is one thing, that doesn't mean that you get it. He was doing yajna and the devas do not have the ability to do that. Otherwise they would have given that. So I say that we are not able to give the third one. Tritiya prarthitasya datum asakyatvat. So we can only give you the first two. So they got it. So you have to be also very clear what you want. Otherwise you can get the wrong thing. Yes, Tanmaji.
I had a question about pot birth from a pot. Like Dronacharya also, the same story.
Yes.
He was born born from a pot, and these stories always are that there is this sperm and it's stored in a pot, and then human beings come out of it. But we know that sperms only have one copy of chromosome from the father. You also need a chromosome from the mother. So, but these pots don't have mother cells, egg cells. So I always wondered how this worked.
So that is only one way to take birth. So there is various types to take birth. This is the normal one which we know. But previously when Brahma was creating, he was not creating with father or mother. Anyway, just creating Manasi Praja. Because what is birth is actually just giving a body to a particular Atma. So this is one process which we know, that there are sperm and egg from male and female, they join together and then it gives a body. But just like now they can clone also, so there must be some other processes by which it is possible. Otherwise, how Brahma creates through the mind. So that is Amaithuni Praja. Then how Draupadi came out from the fire. She is called Ayonija, right? Taking birth not from a womb. So these are rare births, of course, but they are possible. They are not normal births.
Babaji Maharaj,
Bolo.
I have one question regarding this cursing, curse and counter curse, like even in earlier section about Daksha and Shiva's associates. So normally what we know is that these rishis and munis who have done a lot of tapasya, they get power to give curse. But then how come these normal kings or they are also having that power? Is there some particular power to give curse?
So power is that if you are truthful, you read 3rd chapter of Yoga Sutra. It's called Vibhuti Yoga, Vibhuti Pada. So it talks how various types of perfections can come by following different principles. So if you are truthful, remember in Yoga Sutra they are describing 5 yamas, 5 niyamas, ahimsa, satya, asteya. So when you are ahimsa, then tan sannidho vairtyage, that if you follow the principle of non-violence and if you become perfect in that, then people even in your association, they give up enmity. That's why here you hear that the sages, they were living in the forest and tigers and deers will play together. So how is that possible? Deer is the food for tiger. But they are together because they give up their natural enmity. So that is because of their yogic power or yogic siddhi. So similarly, if you follow truthfulness, then your word also get power like that. What you say, it comes true because you don't tell lies. That's why many times when they give curse, they will say like this, that if I have never spoken a lie even in my dreams, then let this happen. So they are so truthful. So they get this different types of powers like that.
Babaji?
Yes.
Yes, it's like Ladili. I'm sorry, but I'm still very confused about Nimi's body, because he says that he wants a spiritual body. And he was expert in very scholar in spirituality. But so I don't really know what it means, how to get a spiritual body, but from my understanding, it means that you need to have a body and find a guru and do a sadhana. So, how is it possible that such a scholar finally is asking for a spiritual body, but then doesn't want to rebirth, to come back? Does it mean that he didn't know about how to get it?
See, first of all, he did not say that give me spiritual body. He said that I don't want this body because it is only problematic. So he did not expressly say it. If you want a boon from somebody, don't expect this person now to judge, to make a conjecture what is in your mind. You have to express it. So he did not say clearly that I want a spiritual body. He only said, the sages said, bring him to a life. And he said, no, I don't want that because it's very troublesome. And he said that those who are intelligent or devoted to Hari, they like to do service. So that is the commentator who is making this comment, that from this he is implying this, that he would prefer to have a spiritual body, but he did not say it. So the Devas, they only heard two things, that bring him to life and don't bring him to life. So then they chose a process by which both were satisfied. He was brought to life and without body. That's why he became Videha, means bodiless, but not lifeless. Okay? Yes.
My question was, did the Devas, in giving their boon, if you will, to Nimi, take consideration of the fact that he cursed his guru?
How?
Means, was his desire for a spiritual body not fulfilled because he made aparad to his guru by cursing his guru to die?
Well, the Devas are not capable of fulfilling that desire, that's what I am saying. They do not have the ability to give such a boon. These Devas are not gods. They are not supreme God that they can give anything. So it is beyond their jurisdiction.
But they could give you something that they know would be favorable to that attainment.
Yeah, but you have to see what they are asking for. What was asked to them by Brahmanas who are doing the yajna, that if you are pleased with us, please bring him to life. And the person who is to be brought to life, he says no. So now what to do? So they satisfied both parties, that's what I am saying.
I guess my question then would be, was Nimi satisfied with that?
I don't know. I'm sure not. This is not what he was looking for. I don't think he was satisfied, but this is what he got. So sometimes you get things which is not desirable. He did yajna with some desire, right? But this is where he ended up. This was not what he desired. Same with Vasishtha. At least Vasishtha didn't lose much. He was back again quickly. But Nimi was gone. So better don't curse the Guru.
Babaji.
Hanji.
So here the importance is also shown how spiritual knowledge is much more superior regardless of the position of a person. King, the Kshatriya is lower than the Brahman and the sage, but he didn't have that full realization of Adhyatma.
Well, as you use the word spiritual knowledge, if it is spiritual, it doesn't depend on anything material. Otherwise, it is not spiritual. If it has to depend on material birth or material status, then how can it be called spiritual? So, spiritual does not depend on anything like this. Yet, when it comes to spiritual, everybody has the equal opportunity, right to have it. It's not dependent on material birth or king or whatever. Striya Vaishya Tatha Sudra Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. Krishna says that they all can attain it. Okay, anything else? Yes.
It's about Nimi that recognized that the Guru was a dharmic. He didn't follow the correct behavior because he was so much interested on this material gain. So then in this case when he was a Vinanaparad or like what it was cursing him was a parad, but I mean rejecting him as a guru was
Yeah, so you can see where he ended up.
yeah, the outcome is horrible.
You have to understand, okay, if you say that Guru Vasishtha was greedy, but then it is not your job now to fix him. So this is called anadhikar chesta, or working beyond your jurisdiction. He could have said, well, I'm sorry and you are cursing me, but really speaking, I did not have any intention like this. So that means he must have that mood towards him to begin with. That's why he did not wait. And that's why Vasishtha was calling him as Pandit Manina, that you are thinking you are a big scholar.
He didn't have any qualifications.
So he could have also waited. After all, Vasishtha was not gone forever. Or at least instead of keeping silent, Tushni Masit, remember in the second sloka, when he said that wait for me, he remained silent. That means at that time itself he decided not to follow him. So then this was not pleasing. So then he ended up like this. Okay. So we have to learn this, that cursing at that time you do it and you may feel great, but you see what is the outcome of that. Neither Vasishtha gained anything from that, nor Nimi. Obviously when they did it, they would have felt superior. Right? That I am going to punish you. Cursing means punishing, that I am going to punish you, and obviously I will show you who I am. So then problem comes from both sides. Like when two people start fighting, they also curse, right? Although their cursing is just verbal, it doesn't have any effect like this, but cursing also means using abusive word, right? So both parties do that, but it never brings out any good. Nobody actually gains from that. Both parties become disturbed, the relations become spoiled, and it may lead to further problems. Then you want to do some harm, you want to pull down that person or create some obstacle. So that becomes like a chain reaction. First of all, it will disturb your mind that you cannot perform your sadhana properly now. And same with the other person. And then, of course, if you do something physically or make some other politics, then that will bring further reaction. Even if it does not bring immediately, it will bring later on. That action has to manifest somewhere. It's not going to go waste. So this is what is being shown. So then you see Lord Ramachandra, when he broke the bow of Shiva in the kingdom of Janaka, same dynasty is being described. So at that time Parshuram came running because he heard, and he was very angry. So he said, "Who has broken this?" So everybody is scared of him. So all these kings were there and they were trying to hide from him. Nobody actually looked him into his eyes. Because you never know, if he gets angry, even if I have not broken it, and he says, "Oh, you are looking at me like this." You never know. He has killed so many people. You are not going to take him to some court if he kills you. And he had the weapon in his own hand, He can kill you. So all the kings were trying to put their face down. As soon as he entered, they were trembling. And then he said, "Who has broken this?" And then Ramchandra came to him and he fell at his feet. And he said that, "Did you break this?" So he says, "No, I did not break it, but when I lifted it, it broke." So he was not proud that I did it. Meaning he was not taking credit for it. Because Parshuram was speaking very proudly, "I am this, I can do this, and I'm a Brahmana and I have killed so many Kshatriyas," and he was talking all these things. And Ramchandra was speaking very humbly. So when he became so humble, then Parshuram, how much he can show his anger? If you are angry and the other person is not reciprocating, how long will you shout? So after some time, he cooled down and he says, "Okay, you have broken that. I give you this bow, and if you can string it." Because he knew that only Vishnu can string it. So Lord Ramachandra said, "Well, I don't know, but I will try. Maybe by your blessing I can do it." So he just acted very humbly. Otherwise there would have been another war there. After all, Parshuram and Ram both are avatar. So he just diffused his anger by his humility. So Nimi could have also done something like that. Of course, here it is described in one line that when he came and he saw he was upset and immediately he cursed. It would not have been just like that. Obviously, when he came, he would have talked to him, "Why did you do it?" So Nimi would have spoken in a very proud manner. "I am a king, I want to do it, do I have to wait for you?" Something he would have argued. So he says, "Okay, here you go. You said that life is temporary, I'll make it really temporary for you." If he would have been humble enough, then maybe Vasishtha would have cooled down. After all, he's a Brahmana. Can give the mic there. Yes.
So then, in this particular arrangement that he becomes this blinking, he makes people blinking.
Mm.
So it's something like, he can meditate on the Lord, on becoming
I don't know anything about that, what he is doing or not doing. I only know this much.
But it's really disturbing people, no?
Hmm?
It's like a disturbance.
No, it is very good. If you don't blink, then your eyes become weak. Then you need glasses. So blinking is very healthy for the eyes.
Can you qualify that desire that Nimi expressed when he was or he was at least saying that he wants to have a spiritual body, but it must have not been pure, otherwise he would have gotten it, right?
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. He did not say that he wants a spiritual body. I already said it. That is the commentator who is saying.
Oh, sorry.
He only said that devotees like to worship feet of Krishna. That's all he said. He did not say that I want a spiritual body. He said I don't want a material body. Or rather he said don't revive this body. That's all he said. That is commentator who is, that's why he's saying iti dhvani, that this is implied. Remember dhvani from Alankar Kaustubh? That's the dhvani he's saying. Okay, so we'll stop.